Cutback for Vasilev, and Lukic! A banger of a strike for Jovan Lukic's first MLS goal!
It's fallen out to Westfield! Oh, wow! He's nearly taken the roof of the net off! Philadelphia pounce again!
Who gets his goal in his Union debut? The record signing, off and running in his first appearance for the club. Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and what a game last night for the Philadelphia Union. A That's so Union moment for all the OG fans of this club. Philadelphia Union, the third club ever to concede a goalkeeper goal, with Luka Gavran scoring the equalizing goal late in stoppage time in the 96th minute in a game that, was pretty dominant for the Union for the most part. And then the Union go and concede 2 goals. And just when Nathan Harriel thought that he was going to have the game-winning goal, Luka Gavran to the rescue to steal a point for Toronto FC. No Jose Nunez tonight. And I did not feel like doing a show by myself. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know if I was going to do the show tonight. And so I had asked tonight's guest to potentially be host of the podcast in case I couldn't get off the water in time. And they are Kyle and Jillian Almoney from the One Team We Agree On. How you guys doing?
Hey, doing well. How about you?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Good to be back, Todd. Thanks for having us back on the podcast. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and this might be the first time I think that you guys have joined live. Maybe, I don't know. You guys let me know. It feels like it. Maybe it's not.
Yeah,
it's been a while at least.
Yeah.
And by the way, Todd, you got some serious sun there today. Like, you've joined the club. Like, you can't probably tell right now, but like my forehead and like my nose got so burnt last Saturday being at all those academy games and everything, just being out in the sun like all day. But like, then it finally started like healing and stuff. But yeah, it looked like you had a good day out on the water.
Yeah, if only I could have caught a fish or two. It's funny because I knew I was going fishing for a while, and I had said to my friend and my sister, I was like, yeah, my goal is 30 fish. Like, I'm going to be out there for 12, 13 hours. That's plenty of time to catch that many fish. Doesn't matter what it is, I'll catch 30 fish. Then I changed it to 20 fish, and then my sister was like, you'll catch one. And 12-ish hours on the water, not a single fish. But hey, look, it's always a good time when you're not working. You can enjoy being out on the water and get a tan and just taking some beautiful sights. But
so no snakeheads.
Not a beautiful sight for the Union. Yeah, no snakeheads, nothing like that. And didn't really see too many fish jumping. Sexy Hoagie says Todd looks tan. Yeah, I guess it's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't burn. I mean, I usually don't burn, but yeah, last night was a chaotic game for the Philadelphia Union. And I guess before we get into, the defensive collapses last night, Danley Jean Jacques at the number 10, 3 games unbeaten now for the Union in MLS. Let's go ahead and quickly review last night's game. I would imagine most people that are watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, you guys watch the game. If not, maybe you just watch the highlights. But I'd said it there a little bit in the intro. The Union, they get a 2-goal lead. It starts right before the half with Milan Alaski scoring a goal, and that's the first time the Union have went into the halftime with a lead. And it's also the second week now in a row that second game, I should say, because the Union played on Saturday against DC United. It's the second game in the row that the Union have not conceded a goal in the first half. And I know I've talked about it a lot on this show. Jose's talked about it a lot on the show. I know you and I, Kyle and Jillian, we've talked about it. The Union is conceding first way too many times. And I know that's been a topic of discussion for Bradley Cornell in his press conferences. And yeah, it seems like maybe the Union are getting past that trend of conceding first. And the goal that they concede against Montreal it's just poor play defensively. But other than that, they didn't give away too many against Montreal. DC United didn't have much on Saturday. And then Toronto was held quiet in the first half too, I thought. And yeah, the Union get a big goal because of a defensive mistake from Toronto where they can't collect the ball at the halfway line. It falls to Lukic and then plays the ball in behind. And how many times have we been asking for a player to make a run in behind? And you get exactly that with Milan Lasky last night to open the score 1-0.
Good.
Yeah. No, I mean, they've been waiting for it. And I honestly, more of that, please. That was just what we've been waiting for. And honestly, and I looked at Yuka, I was like, okay, didn't concede first. Okay, there we go. That's huge.
I just remember when the lineup came out, Todd, you and I had a little conversation about that with Danley up in attacking mid. And, beyond that, I thought Danley was great in attacking mid, but also we talked about, you and Jose have, about just Milan's ability to run up and get in behind the defense. And you saw that, and he was 1-1 with Gavran last night and finished it off. And I hope this is a starting 11, maybe, and we'll get to that probably, that the Union move forward with, because there was a lot of confidence with that starting 11.
Yeah, I really liked Danley there, honestly. I thought that was a good change there. Yeah. And I like that Bueno got to be in there as well, because he's been playing no matter what, Kyle.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm happy with the lineup, and we can get into that if we want. Where we see, okay, is it going to be a 4-2-3-1? Is it going to be a 4-2-2-2? And I had said to Kyle, and I've said it, I know, on the show multiple times. Those two formations are so similar, where your second striker can play across a middle three. That central number 10 can move up top, and yeah, I think it's very fluid. I don't think it's set where, okay, yeah, you're just going to stay up top with the other striker. No, I think it's a very fluid system, and it's not that much different. And so we see Milan Lasky get the start up top with Bruno Damiani. As the 2-10s, Danley Jean Jacques, Indiana Vassilev with Jovan Lukic and Jesus Bueno as the two number 6s. We'll talk about that midfield here in a little bit, because this is something that I've been harping on. This is something that I've been wanting for a while. And then we get, once again, 4 straight games now, a consistent back line. And we can talk about that, guys. We can talk about that lineup, guys, in the back. I think it's safe to say that Harriel, Siri, Macania, and Westfield are the solidified back 4. 4 games in?
For sure. And that's what you want, right? You want to see that consistency there, Jillian.
Yeah, no, I think that just that consistency is huge. And also, I do like having Nate and Frankie both there. I think they bring a lot each individually there. And on the topic of him, Frankie needs to take more of those set pieces, because, yeah. But having him in there, I think in that role is huge. But yeah, and you see that partnership with Jeff at Sari Larson and McConaughey there, I think, really starting to click. I think that is gotten a lot stronger as well.
I have some thoughts about that, but there were some moments last night of them still figuring out.
They're getting better at it, but
yeah, but no, you feel confident moving forward. At least Carnell has figured out his back line and his goalkeeper. And I'm fine again with that.
Yeah.
So.
And when I saw that lineup come out, I texted you guys at some point. I'm like, oh, what is this formation? Are we changing up the formation here? What is but
it was the same.
It was. It just, moving Danley. I was just like, just seeing the players, I was like, oh, how is this going to be arranged? This is interesting. But I didn't hate it though.
Well, you had brought up Frankie Westfield taking set pieces on the night, Jillian, and he actually hits the post. And just like we saw the Union hit the post on Saturday against DC United with Jesus Bueno, the Union get the first chance in this game, back-to-back games, and they both wind up hitting the post. Jesus Bueno and then Frankie Westfield this game, and I didn't hate it, guys. I did not hate it. I mean, how many times this season have we seen Indiana Vasilov, Milan Lasky hit the wall on set pieces? And I can't recall that ever happening with Kai Wagner. And the first set piece we see for Frankie Westfield, it's a good free kick. And then a few moments later, he's standing over another free kick, and he's just wide of the near post. And I think Garvin probably would have had that covered, but look, he didn't hit the wall. And I think maybe this is something that the Union can experiment with more. Now, we did see Milan Lasky standing over the free kicks from distance and everything, which I'm totally fine with. But when you're 25 or less yards in, I want to see Frankie Westfield or Jesus Bueno. I think can take a pretty good set piece as well.
Yeah, I agree. And anyone who's watched Union 2, when Frankie was down with Union 2, we saw him do this. Like,
no,
he can do this.
And Todd, you and I were talking about that. I think he just watching his development and growth and seeing him this just like 20 yards out, he can take those shots, and he has. He's done it in MLS Next Pro, and maybe that's the next evolution of that. As for Jesus Bueno, I'm fine with him. I mean, the biggest problem, I know you and Jose have talked about it, is from 18 to 22 yards out. We've seen so many shots just hit the wall. And for a team that prizes themselves on set pieces, you got to be better than that. You just got to be better than that. And I hope Cornell rides Bueno and Frankie moving forward. And I'm curious to see who else he brings in. Is it Kevin? Is it the kid?
I mean, Kevin, again, we've seen Kevin in that spot very well also. Like, I like that, not to get off topic too much, because I'm sure we'll cover Kevin, but Kevin can do good corners too. We gotta bring up that comment. I
was not.
No. Yeah, can we address Wolfie's comment there? Yeah. Okay. So this was a case
listening on audio. Wolfie said Cornell thought you were smack talking Frankie, Kyle.
I was not.
No, that's the thing. Actually thought Frankie did really, really well, and Kyle wanted to just hear what Cornell's assessment of his play was.
It was a bad question, and I didn't phrase it right, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
I got cooked.
Yeah, cooked a little bit. So
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
No, actually, I was very impressed on Frankie's night. So yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I guess if we're on that topic, I mean, I wasn't even going to bring it up until Wolfie said something and you guys were willing to talk about it, but I think we all know that Bradley Cornell feels the pressure. He's under pressure. And maybe publicly he won't admit that. But when you're in the position that the Union are in, and I get it, 3 games unbeaten, which is a step positive. I think last night, a lot of positives to take away. A lot more positives to take away than what DC United was. But regardless, because such a hard start for the season, for the Union, 0-6, that's a mountain to climb through. And how do you convince your players to keep their spirits up? How do you convince your staff to keep their spirits up? How do you convince the media that, look, even though we're 0-6, everything's fine. Like, we're trending in the right direction. How do you convince your bosses, right, that everything's going in the right direction? Bradley Cornell, very analytical guy, him and his staff, and they have all these stats and whatnot that can back up, hey, look, we're getting better. And now you're starting to see it on the field. Yes, it feels hard down. I know we'll probably talk about this a little bit with, okay, does it feel like it's a defensive collapse, or what exactly do we think last night was? Did we see progress? Did we see false hope? What exactly do we see? But last night was so emotional. You're up by 2 goals, and then you concede 2 goals. You blow a 2-goal lead, and we all know, we're all soccer fans, a 2-goal lead's the worst lead in all of soccer, all of sports. You see it last night against New York City and FC Cincinnati. In stoppage time, Cincinnati scores 2 goals to tie that game up 4-4. Insane. 2-goal leads, not safe. And after the Union had conceded those 2 goals, you have a chance by Bruno Damiani in the 62nd minute, and he hits it straight at Gavran. He has a chance to maybe pass it to an overlapping Indiana Vasilev, but he opts for the shot. And I don't have an issue with that because I think Damiani, he is desperate for a goal. And we see the comments on social media. We get the comments on the show. Like, people want to see the strikers scoring goals. And so Damiani sees himself in a good position. Why not? Why not try that? And I'm happy he put it on target instead of hitting it over the crossbar. But yeah, maybe that's one that he wants to have back. Maybe he wants to play Indiana Vasilev in. But other than that chance by Damiani, the Union didn't really have too many chances up until that corner kick with Jesus Bueno, by the way, took it, played it into Alejandro Bedoya, and then the flick one by Bedoya into Nate Harriel. Yeah, you probably feel like that's all 3 points right there. The referee says 5 minutes of stoppage time. You concede in the 96th minute, an extra minute. And the Union give away 2 stupid fouls, one farther away than what the previous foul was that led to the goal. And if you're Andre Blake, you're probably pissed off. It's like, why are you fouling in a dangerous area? And then the Union can't clear away the danger. And then you have Alado. I don't know what he's doing there on the play, if I'm being honest. How you let a goalkeeper out jump you, how you don't jump. I mean, we're playing man marking on this cross coming back into the box, and how you don't jump, how you don't put the goalie off. It's insanity to me. But regardless, the Union concede 3 goals, and so yeah, you talk about an emotional game. Yeah, I'm sure Bradley Cornell's feeling the pressure of such an emotional game. The start to the season not going the way that it wants. Yes, it's 3 games unbeaten, but it does feel like the Union could have all 3 points once again in Toronto, and it slips out of their fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was going on at the end there. It's just like, just clear it out, get it down to the corner, do what you got to do there at the end. And that didn't happen. I mean, of course, that's one of those. We
saw that moment in Montreal, and the Union were lucky to walk out with all 3 points, right?
Right.
Alado, the thing I took away from that goal, where I remember you just going, what is going on here with that? And I just remember the camera cut back to Andre Blake, just screaming not screaming at, just being like,
discussing with the referee.
Where are you on that play? And then going back today and watching that final play, like Todd's right, like, where was he? He wasn't paying attention. You need to be pressed up a little bit more. Like, somebody needs to get up on Garvin there.
It's Alado, 100%. He was the one.
Well, no, I agree. Like, it was, and like for him, there are these moments. And Todd, you and I talked about it last weekend. Like, there's just these moments where it's like, we could have a point there, and we don't get a point. And last night was a point where we could have gotten 3 points. And again, like when we were walking on Super River Park on last Saturday, it's like, it was there. They're building after the slow start, but there could be a lot more there. And Aldo, again, he has to be better there. This is your club record signing. You brought him in for a purpose to change his club's environment. And yes, I know he has the assist, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not giving up on the kid, but he's got to learn.
As we've seen with some players, they've taken time to adjust, Daniel Gazdag for one. But just, you want to see more here. And that was poor. He's got to learn quick there. He's got to do better.
Yeah, and you see McKay and Jeffett try to get up there, but they're getting blocked on the line. So,
yeah, and so I had mentioned, I mean, a 2-goal lead's the worst in all of soccer, all of sports, I would argue.
Yeah, he looked at me he looked at me and said that. Yeah, during the game last night, he's like, he looked at me and he's like, what they say? I'm like, stop it.
That's true.
I said, I only say, and he's like, you always say that though. And I'm like, yeah, when the Union are down.
It's true.
I know, but it is true. Yeah.
What do you guys think that does to the players' confidence? Not the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff are seeing a lot of positives, and I would imagine the players probably feel like there's a lot of positives to take away from this game. But regardless, I mean, you're up 2-0 and then 3-2 with a few minutes to go, and then you can see the game tying goal to a goalkeeper. What do you think this does mentally to this team?
Can I go back to the first goal? So I want to say one thing about that first goal. After the Alosky goal, I think it was Devin Kerr almost had an opportunity.
DeAndre Kerr?
Yeah, DeAndre Kerr. Yeah, he almost has that opportunity, and you're like, ooh. And then you start seeing that. And you saw that with Shalwi, where he gets called offsides, right? And where Toronto could perceivably take the lead, then Harriel goes back. I'm still positive that the fact that the Union fought back and credit to Gavran. Like Todd said, he's the third MLS keeper to score goal.
I said to Kyle, I'm like, that would have been so freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
to
MLS,
see if it weren't against the Union, right?
and so you tip your cap.
I mean,
and say great, but again, I do wonder. I mean, I know Carnell said after the press conference, we're going to galvanize and we're going to focus on Columbus. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But now this is 2 matches where you could have gotten a point.
Well, they did get a point.
Well, no.
They dropped 2 points.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Todd. Where you could have gotten 3 points. And, hey, how is this confidence? How is Bedoya? How are some of the veterans feeling about this?
Yeah,
that's why I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I just think it's got to be so deflating because it was right there, and they had positives happen in this match. Okay, they're up by 2 goals. They had, that goal by Harriel, that was awesome. They had so many positives, and then that just had to be so deflating. And when you have these near misses, you have these things happen like this and in more quick succession, that's got to just really wear on you and just keep messing with you so much. And almost like Bradley said before that, about the fragility a little bit. So you wonder how much it gets in their head, especially, they're like, it's that 2-0 lead too. It's like, okay, got that. Maybe get a little overconfident even. It's like, okay, got this. But yeah, that's just got to be so deflating.
Yeah. And Wolfie said they equalized so fast, Toronto. And the thing with that too, and you brought it up, Kyle, with Daniel Shalhoub. As soon as Josh Sargent scores a goal, the Union, and Apple misses this for the most part. They obviously turn the ball over on the kickoff. And then Toronto goes down the other way, and we see Malik Henry sub in for DeAndre Kerr, make a big difference. 1v1, caused a lot of issues for the Union out wide. And eventually the ball gets played out to the far post to Shalhoub, and he completely botches the chance. And there was a moment, as soon as Toronto scored, they go right back down and almost equalize a minute later. But then to Wolfie's point, the Union score, and a few minutes later, Toronto scores with Gavran. And for me, I don't know if that's defensive collapse or if that's bad luck. Because Shalhoub, too, in the 82nd minute, had a goal, ruled for offsides, and they really weren't threatening all that much after Kobe Franklin had scored the equalizing goal in the 64th minute. I thought it was a pretty even contested game. A lot of hard-fought duels in the midfield up until that potential game-winning goal from Shalhoub, and then the Union get a fortunate break that it's ruled offside. But if I'm being honest, guys, as much as it may hurt Union fans, as much as it may hurt the players or the coaching staff, I think a point's a fair result when you look at the chances that Toronto had and didn't capitalize on, or they were ruled off sides. I think the Union very easily could have lost this game, and if it wasn't for a couple of misses for Toronto, a chance that was ruled for offsides, the Union are moments away from being down 3-2. And do they have enough fight back to come back? And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to think about what that would have looked like, but to their credit, they did not let that potential goal get to them, and they get the go ahead goal with Nathan Harriel, and then they concede. And so for me, I feel like it's a huge emotional roller coaster ride for this team, for this coaching staff. And I don't want to bring it up, but you hope this doesn't turn into a Vancouver Nashville situation where the Union gets smacked by Vancouver 7-0, and then they go away to Nashville in the US Open Cup and they lose that game too. And then after the Nashville loss, the Union turned their season around. But you kind of hope that this doesn't turn into a trickle down effect. But this is what Bradley Cornell had to say last night in regards to moving on from the draw against Toronto last night.
Yeah, I think 0-6 is pretty emotional, and I think the way we've been trending and the way we're fighting, this group is fighting, man. This group is locked in, and they're giving everything for each other. And for sure, we looked a little bit naive in certain moments today, of which, we just have to take that on the chin and know that, when the clock is 94-40 and there's 20 seconds to go, what are we mitigating to do, and how are we closing out the game? Or, so this is what happens with a young group, so we continue this road of learning by doing. And it's really unfortunate, but the minute we leave this locker room here, we're going to get galvanized, we're going to get locked in again, and catch a flight to Columbus.
And so no way says, lots to be happy with, creative and smooth passing. We felt in sync. The midfield has been decently tough to get through, and we have had a ton of solid defensive plays to shut down chances. Says we just need to start scoring more goals, but we are showing promise there too. I'm feeling optimistic, guys, and I think Union fans do have every reason to feel optimistic after what they saw against DC, about what they felt and saw last night against Toronto. But as Wolfie says, yeah, it may be a fair result, a point against Toronto, but the Union do desperately need points, and we know the season's long in MLS. The whole league makes the playoffs and whatnot, and we know the curse of winning the Supporters Shield, and that's probably out of the realm of possibilities for the Union this season. But now I kind of feel like now all the pressure's on in Columbus, where you need to get 3 points against Columbus. Where, not saying if you would have got 3 points against Toronto, okay, you're not going to feel any pressure to get points in Columbus. But I think this team is going to feel a lot better if they come away with 4 points as opposed to 1 or 2 points on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be huge how they respond in Columbus. That's going to be really telling. And, it was, I think, all things considered, a fair result. You do want more points there. I think, for a little while there, the vibes were really good. I know that I'm sure I'm not the only one that had a multiple screen situation going on, by the way, with the Flyers and the Union. And at the time, they're both winning and everything. I'm sorry, Todd, because I know you're not a Flyers fan. But you did not just say that in front of me, Kyle. Kyle's a Flames fan anyway, and he just said blasphemy in this house. But anyway, but no, like that, for a while there, the vibes were so good. And I think for me, as someone who's also watching the Flyers at the same time, feeling really good, and then you see the Union blow that lead there at the end, and it's just like, oh. But I think how they respond here is going to be huge. And I know Bradley talked about, that they're really going to focus on that. Of course, they didn't go home. They just, they went right into Columbus. They're, they're there. So getting themselves ready, and it'll be really telling how they respond here. And I think they can. I definitely think they have it in. I'm going to be positive here. I'm going to be optimistic. I think they can bring it, but it's been tough in Columbus too. We've been there the last 2 years,
I mean, it's been tough historically in Columbus.
Yeah. But since the last 2 years we've gone, and it's been a loss and it's been tough. So you were there with us, Todd, 2 years ago, and yeah.
To Todd's point, I do think that this is going to be the last of the 5 block cycle that Carnell talks about. Curtin talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
If they get a win here, that does a lot. Only because if you look at that next block of 5 heading in the World Cup,
it's going to be tough.
Nashville, Columbus again, Inter Miami, New England. Now you have Orlando, but again, they won last night. Or they get a point. I forget. Anyway, no, I think Saturday is, and I don't want to sound too dramatic, but it's one of those season defining moments, right? Where if you get 3 points, you go in that next block of 5 against Nashville. Do I think they can beat Nashville? That's going to be a tall task, but you build that momentum. Maybe you get a point against Nashville, and now you go on the road to New England. There's still opportunity there, but I still feel optimistic after these last 4 matches in the sense of they're starting to get goals outside DC. And you're starting to see some good play.
Yeah, steps in the right direction. Just
and playing on the road, like we said, in MLS is hard. But yeah, I mean, you still want to see better.
Absolutely.
Well, look, I mean, if they're 4 points out of a playoff spot right now, which
right.
Again, like I said, I mean, it feels like everybody in the league makes the points. And if you get 3 points against Columbus, then you're only 2 points out of a playoff spot right behind Columbus. And so this game on Saturday against Columbus is a huge game. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. Jose and I are going to be joined by Chris Doran tomorrow, the radio play-by-play for Columbus Crew. Super excited to have Chris back on the podcast. So, man, I guess technically, if you're listening to this on the RSS feed, you guys are going to have 2 podcasts to listen to in one day. But I hope you guys enjoy that. So definitely giving you guys a lot of content. But let's go ahead and talk about a positive last night, and that's Danley Jean Jacques playing as a number 10. And I didn't want to talk about it too much at the beginning of the show because I wanted to save it for here. But this is something I've been harping on for a while. Play Jesus Bueno, play Jovan Lukic, play Danley Jean Jacques. Play Danley higher up the field. And I think this comment from Pat nails it perfectly. He says, love DJJ as a high-pressing 10, chaos creator. Couldn't have said it any better. We can go ahead and move on to another segment. But no, Pat's spot on. Danley's pressing was key. It was key to that chance by Bruno Damiani in the 62nd minute. He wins the ball back at half field. And you see for Danley's goal, he's putting pressure on Toronto's center back, Monlouise. And yes, I know as soon as Monlouise goes to kick the ball, a little bit unfortunate for him. It hits off of Danley's knee, and Danley scores a crazy goal. But look, that play doesn't happen if it isn't because of the press from Danley, if it isn't from Danley winning the ball back, being aggressive. And this is exactly what you want to see. Not saying that you don't get this from Indiana Vassilev, because you do get the pressing from Indiana Vassilev, but I think Danley offers you a lot more offensively than what you're currently getting from Indiana Vassilev. And we see once again last night, Vassilev not playing a full 90 minutes, gets pulled in the 65th minute for Alejandro Bedoya, who has the assist for Nathan Harriel's what we thought was going to be the game-winning goal. But Danley looked great. He was excellent last night, and I hope, to your point, Kyle, I wouldn't mind seeing the same exact lineup once again this Saturday in Columbus, because it worked. It worked last night against Columbus, and we don't see a ton of chances for Toronto in the first half. Union come out, maybe get a little bit fortunate to go up 2-0, but I thought for the most part, the Union looked pretty good. Yes, I know that there's little moments on the goals that they conceded where they're not following their men. It's just way too easy passing and off-ball movement from Toronto. But for me, that's not something to be concerned about, because I think there's an easy correctable issues that the Union had last night, and I don't want to take anything away from Toronto because they're a talented team. There's a reason why they were coming into this game 6 unbeaten, now 7, hadn't lost since February 28th. A really good team offensively for sure. Defensively, a little questionable, a little suspect, but like I said, nothing to be concerned about with the goals, in my opinion, if the Union conceded. Even on the Gavran goal, you just fix your man marking. And how many times is the goalkeeper going to get sent up on a play like that? Not a lot. But Danley, a huge positive, maybe the biggest positive in last night's game.
I think the last two positives in the last 2-3 matches for me have been the rise of Jesus Bueno and now last night with Danley Jean Jacques. I mean, both of them have been excellent. And, you know, I still laugh about that conversation we had on the ride home, Todd, with that. But, yeah, I mean, there was a play where Danley was going upfield, dropped it back. I forget who. It was like bing, bang, boom. And then the ball sprung somebody and created a chance. And it's like, where's that been on the right side all year? And that's not a Konolowski. It's just I was really pleased with his performance. I do think this is the lineup moving forward, and I want to see more of Jesus Bueno. I really do, because I think he's gaining confidence right now, and a confident Jesus Bueno with Lukic, and then you can still sub off Bueno, bring back Danley to the defensive mid with Yvonne, or, you know, mix it up. I was happy with it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that I would love to see very similar lineup. There's one that maybe I wouldn't mind a little tweak. You know what I'm going to say. But
Going to be this? What Wolfie says?
that is it, 100%.
And Bruno to the bench will be cooking.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin get the start there. I like Indy coming in and running around as he does against tired legs. I think he brings that chaos there, and I really like that from him. Yeah. I'm fine with him starting, but I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin, you know, and him flip-flop there a little bit too.
I'm fine with that.
But yeah, love Danley in this role.
I got nothing to add to your comment there about Kevin. So.
Yeah.
Well, what about more Malik? What if we
okay, and well, while we're on the topic,
both Malik and Kevin come in at the same time last night.
Yeah. Bring on the 2 16-year-olds. I mean, I think that every time I see Malik come on in these first team games, he looks more and more confident. And he's really growing into this game. And, you know, we've seen him a ton with Union too. You know, he, as Ryan Richter has told us, he knows where the goal is. And I think that he's gotten that more confidence. He did help get that corner.
He did.
He did. And
that's something we did not see from him last year.
He's stepped it up a ton since last year.
And I know Bradley said in his press conference, we're going to continue to play the young kids. I forget the exact comment. It was like, we're going to play the kids, you know, last 20 minutes or something like that. But I want to see both those kids continue to develop, because I know I keep on our podcast pushing back on Mac, like, is he really ready? Is he really ready? But every time I see him, like last night, wins that corner at the end.
Yeah, with the Nate goal.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, all right, Malik. Every time I kind of push back, you kind of take a step forward, and you want to see that from those young kids, and that's really good.
Yeah, I've seen more and more hustle from him, and also tracking back at times when he needs to.
And like Ryan and other people we talked to have said, like, the kids got fire in them. And sometimes you just got to give that kid an opportunity. I'm not saying he's going to go out if he starts the next game and score a goal, but you got to give him those opportunities. And maybe it's time for Carnell to just trust him. Give him a start. See what happens.
Would you like to see maybe him and Bruno get the start, or he and somebody else?
would love to see him and Lasky up top together.
Ooh.
But even I just need somebody to be able to feed him in the box. And if you
Yeah.
can feed him in the box, he'll take care
Oh,
of the
yeah.
rest.
Oh, 100%. You feed him the ball there, he will find a way. He's very
Yeah.
good at that.
You got to get some people to feed him.
Yeah, I agree. I think Malik's a player, to Wolfie's point, I think needs to be playing more than 10 minutes, as does Kevin Sullivan.
Yes.
I think they're too talented of players to get sparring minutes here and there. Why not trust them a little bit more? We're trying to Bradley Cornell's not afraid to play the kids. We saw all last year. We see obviously Malik make his debut this season. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing more than 10 minutes from a Malik, from a Kevin Sullivan. I do want to go ahead and play a clip from Bradley Cornell, and then we'll move on from Danley Jean Jacques, of Bradley Cornell talking about what him and his staff saw that led to Danley playing as a number 10, and just Danley's game overall against Toronto.
Yeah, we knew if we put them under pressure and follow through and stay in pressing moments, we'll get rewarded. We showed this in the scouts, and we get rewarded for it. With his deflected goals. So, but that wasn't lucky. We knew those types of moments can happen, and we put them under pressure. So that's why we went with Danley, just because of his physical nature and his athletic nature to get pressing cues and triggers and hunt the ball and stay in it and go all the way and take in the last step. And I'm glad he got rewarded. But it's just unfortunate because we saw a lot of good things with and without the ball to certain moments. But yeah, the goals we'll definitely have to discuss.
Yeah, again, so nothing more to add about Danley Jean Jacques' performance. And yeah, you hope that Danley can build off of this performance heading into Columbus, and you hope that the team overall can build on all the positives that we saw against Toronto, and hopefully get 3 points this Saturday against Columbus Crew. The last thing that I want to talk about, go ahead, Kyle.
Can I say something? And for Danley, just continue to build that confidence heading into the World Cup, because this is a massive opportunity for that player.
Yeah, 100%. Like, don't you think that he's thinking about the World Cup? He's absolutely thinking about the World Cup, trying to hit his form at the best time possible so we can go and carry that in to the World Cup with Haiti. It's a fair point. But the last thing we're talking about, guys, is the 3-game unbeaten run. I know I've mentioned that a couple times already. Is this progress we're seeing from the Union? Do you think it's false hope? What do you guys think that ultimately is for the Philadelphia Union now that they've been unbeaten against Montreal, DC United, and now Toronto?
I know you're going to say that it's the hope that's going to kill you, are you?
I wasn't going to say that.
No, but I kid.
The hope that's going to kill you is if you tuned into the Phillies today and saw them almost actually win a game. But I digress. No. Continue.
Anyway, Todd, to your point, I do feel that it's something we've said from the beginning. I think a lot of it, that this team is going to build as the season progresses, and I still do believe that. Now, do they make the playoffs? I at this point I don't know.
They could,
but they still can. I mean,
I think
Columbus is at 9 points, and they're in the 9th position at 9 points. I mean, it's just a hot run. You just need to get on. The way the East is shaking out, it's something to be said, but I do sense a shift of confidence. I do feel that these players are feeling each other out, getting to know each other. Do I still want to see more from Damiani and Alado? I still will give Damiani a pass. I like Damiani.
I do too.
I want to see more from Ezekiel.
Yes.
But I know he's young. But I also want to see this team take chances like Cornell did with moving Danley up in the attacking mid. I want to see them create and try to just mix things up a little bit more.
Yeah, I do think that they're trending in the right direction. Getting that, stopping the bleeding with the losses, I think was step number 1 there. That I think helped a lot. And of course, not conceding against DC, even though they didn't score anything and DC was not good. But, of course, almost all these games, they've been really, they've been really in them. They've been so close. And so it's not like they're completely out of these games. It's just, unfortunately, it didn't go their way there. And there were some moments that they went back that could have, made the result a win in most of those cases. So I think that, like I said, Columbus, that's going to be a big chance to be a turning point. Do they build on this? Do they get a win, or do they get a draw? Would you be happy with the draw? Yeah.
I need 3 points.
3 points would be tremendous.
I'll take it.
Points, but I think you would take it. I mean,
yeah,
you would take a draw over a loss.
You're still undefeated now in 4 games, and then you return back home against Nashville the following Saturday, with Nashville having a game midweek against who do they play in CONCACAF Champions Cup? Tigres, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, they're going to take that game serious, and so will we see rotation on Saturday against the Union? I think
for
potentially.
sure.
Yeah, I know I said you would feel a lot better ending this road trip with 4 points as opposed to 1 or 2. But if you continue to show positives that you were showing these last couple games, then yeah, you just continue to make progress, and you hope and believe potentially that the wins are coming. I know Sexy Hoagie's saying here the losses will be back Saturday. She has no confidence that the Union are going to beat Columbus Crew, which, by the way, Daniel Gazak scores the opening goal. Finally scores a goal for Columbus Crew against LA Galaxy and another former Philadelphia Union player, Jacob Glesnes. Sexy Hoagie also says, still no goal scorers. We got lucky all 3 games. The Union didn't create a ton. That's fair against Montreal. Yes, they beat Montreal. Both goals come on set pieces. Maybe I was a little too harsh on them for their performance against DC United. They created chances. Sean Johnson played out of his mind, made multiple good saves. Are you unfortunate that you blow multiple leads in this game against Toronto? Maybe. At the same time, too, I think I think a draw is fair enough. I talked about it at the beginning of the show, just because Toronto had chances in this game and they couldn't capitalize on those. So, yeah, maybe the Union got lucky, but I think you're seeing a different team than what we saw the first 6 games of the season. Because honestly, guys, it's so hard for me to think those first 6 games, what was the Union's best game? San Jose? I think I said last game. It's so hard to say, yeah, this is a clear, definite, positive game through the first 6 games. But to the Union's credit, they've looked better these last 3 games. Yeah, they've had 0 wins the last 2 games against DC United and Toronto, but there's a lot of positives that the Union can build on. Yes, they conceded 3 goals against Toronto, which is unheard of with this team. I know they conceded 3 goals against Atlanta, which, yeah, Atlanta, by the way, only win of the season against the Philadelphia Union, a terrible team. They lose again last night to New England, and yeah, that's a roster that's not been set up for success whatsoever.
Did you hear Tata's comment about if he didn't have a relationship with the club, he'd probably be fired? I'm like, what was that comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's him not doubting his coaching abilities. I think that's him taking shots at the way that this roster we're not performing.
Right.
It's a terrible roster down in Atlanta. Union fans might think that the way that the Union have set up the roster is pretty bad, but my goodness, that's a really, really, really bad Atlanta side. But I do want to play this clip from Bradley Cornell talking about, the 3 goals that they conceded. It's pretty much a anomaly.
Well, I think the trend has been really good from us. I think we've been really strong defensively, and I would say this was an anomaly for what I've seen over the last couple of weeks. So, I don't want to say that there's any panic stations now. We just have to make this one hurt for a few minutes now. We have a long road trip now, and well, yeah, the minute we touch down in Columbus, we have to let that go and build on the positives and make sure we have a look at these negatives. For sure, we'll do that as well. But yeah, we move on to Columbus.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's all you can do. Just turn the page. Have a quick memory. All right, this is what happened. We conceded to the goalie. Let's move on. Get ready for Columbus, and let's highlight all the positives and let's correct the mistakes that we made in this game. Again, I said it at the beginning. It's not like these mistakes that they made aren't correctable. They absolutely are. So I do think there's a lot of progress that we're seeing from the Union these last 3 games, and I'm excited for the game on Saturday. And so hopefully you guys get good interviews. Hopefully you guys see a result, because it's so much easier talking to the players and the manager when the Union are winning games. But yeah, I think Union fans have every reason to be upset with how the season's went so far. But if you look at these last 3 games, there's plenty of positives to take away. Now let's see a complete game.
100%. They keep taking these steps. Now they just need to, build on that.
100%. I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much all I have. I don't know how I'm not sleeping yet. I mean, 12 hours on the water, going 14.6 miles, I think I did, which is insane in a kayak. I mean, my goodness, I like I'm crashing. So we'll go ahead and end the show here. I know this is a lot earlier than our normal hour plus that Jose and I always seem to do. But again, I said it last episode, we just went over an hour. No Jose here again. And look, we're finishing well below an hour. I'm telling you guys, it's not me, not the reason why we're going over an hour.
I mean, you've seen some of our recent episodes. We're going 40, 45 minutes. I mean, we just get into it, talk about it, and get out.
Yeah, no, I mean, and yeah, that's how it's been. But,
No, this has been great, Todd. Again, always appreciate it. Thank you for everything. And
yeah, where can people follow you guys on social media?
So you can find us on, we're on Twitter and on Blue Sky at TOTWAG. We have our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com. I'm at silly_Jilly on Twitter and Instagram, and Kyle's at Coach Almoney. And yeah, we'll be we're going to Columbus, so you can follow our stuff there.
Sure. And hopefully we have an interview with former Union player. We'll see how that goes, but we'll see.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have happy things to report for sure.
Yeah, right.
We would love to have some good, positive stuff at the end there. So not everyone down in the
It's
middle.
so much easier when there's a win. People are more willing to talk when you're coming off of a win. So yeah, hopefully for you guys' sake, you guys see a win and get as good a content as you guys can get, and hopefully the players are in a good mood. So if you guys aren't following the podcast though on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow at Free Kick Pod wherever you get your podcast of the Free Kick. Check out the YouTube channel live every single podcast, youtube.com/freekickpod. You can also check out the goals breakdown video, which I'm going to have to try to grind out tomorrow morning. So yeah, I'll have to edit this quickly so you guys can listen to it. And then if you guys want to check out my writing podcast or goals breakdown video all in one place, thefreekick.substack.com. Again, I mentioned to you guys, we have a preview episode coming up. Jose will be back tomorrow for the preview with Chris Duran and the radio play-by-play for Columbus Crew. Talk all things Columbus with how Gonzaga's adjusting to life, how the season's going so far for Columbus, the win over LA Galaxy on Wednesday night, and then just overall, brand new coach in Henrik. Is his name Henrik? Oh God, this is so bad. Somebody help me. Yeah, Henrik Rundstrom, the Swedish manager that the Crew hired to replace Wilfred Nancy. So we'll talk all that with Chris tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. And again, if you guys are listening to the RSS feed, go listen to that episode. I'll have 2 episodes out for you guys on Friday. But I'm trying to think anything else to plug. This kind of feels so weird. So weird to end the podcast less than an hour. And now I'm kind of trying to stall for time because it just feels so odd. But I have nothing, guys. So, yeah.
Eagles are on the clock, so go Birds.
Do you have anything plug about MLS Next?
Yeah, actually we're covering MLS. Well, so the academy teams are the 18s, 16s, and 15s. They're at MLS Next Flex down in Frisco. They play where FC Dallas plays, and also Union 2's on Sunday. They're playing at Connecticut United. We won't be there obviously for that, but yeah. So there's lots of Union action if you're interested in. People are interested in the developmental side of things and with the academy, which they've been pretty exciting. We'll have coverage of that, and of course Union 2 as well. So yeah, so we got that going.
So lots going on this weekend. So a lot of content
For sure.
Make sure you guys are checking out Kyle and Jillian's work. They do a fantastic job. So with that said, my name is Todd, and this is